Hello everyone, welcome to another short video. In this video, we are going to look at vulnerability protection and DoS protection profile on Palo Alto Firewall. As you know, I do not have a license. I'll not be able to demo vulnerability protection, but I'll be able to demo the DoS protection stuff. I'll start my Linux machine. So I'll jump onto the firewall and show you what is there in those profiles. If you go under the objects, in the security profile section, there is one option for the vulnerability protection and one for the DoS protection profile. So this DoS protection profile aims to protect the hosts which are behind the firewall or in a zone connected to the firewall. And there is another profile we talked about, zone protection profile. That's basically to protect the firewall itself from the DoS attack. Now let's look first into the vulnerability protection profile. In vulnerability protection profile, there are several vulnerabilities released day to day, and Palo Alto releases signatures for them in order for them to be detected in the traffic passing through the firewall. And if those vulnerabilities are detected, Palo Alto you know, can take required actions, in order to safeguard our infrastructure from someone exploiting them to the host protected by the Palo Alto. So in order to create a vulnerability protection profile, you go here and then you click on add. When you click on add, let's name it, we can say Vul Prediction, and then put a description in there. Then you have to create certain rules. So in order to create a rule, you click on add. Let's say I want to create a rule, any protection for all the protections. And then you can put a specific threat name if you want only to engage those specific signatures, and then you can set if there is any action you want to take. So right now it's selected as default. If you want to take any other your action which you would like to desire, like allow, alert, drop, reset client, reset server, reset both, or block IP. Block IP one is, if you select the block IP, then you can put the duration in here for how much duration, what thing is blocked. Source IP is blocked to make the connection, or source and destination pair is not allowed to communicate. And uh, when what host type, like signatures belonging to what host type you would like to engage in this rule. So there are three: any, client, and server. Any means both. All the signatures belonging to both the host types will be engaged, and for client only, client host type, and server for the server host type. I'll keep it any, and then duration I can put, okay, block the IP for 300 seconds. I'll say 3600. Just basically, I should not even block the IP. I should just say, okay, drop the connection straight away. And you know what CVEs you would like to protect, you would like to engage the signatures for, and what vendor IDs, like suppose Cisco and a specific vulnerability, or maybe Microsoft and a specific vulnerability, and then what should be the severity of it, severity, and then the whether you want to do a packet capture for it or not. Let's say I want to do a single packet capture, and what should be the category of for that vulnerability. You can set, app ID change, brute force, code execution, code obfuscation. There are a hell lot of categories in this list. uh, you can select them from, and then like as I select, suppose brute force, so category brute force, all severities. I'll say any CV, any vendor ID should be dropped, and any threat should be there in it. That's how you create a vulnerability profile. And in order to create exceptions to these rules, you go to under the exceptions, and you need to select a signature here. And then if you enable the signature and then click on this IP address exemption box, you can put IP addresses to be exempted from that specific threat ID, and that exemption will go in, and then even if it is detected by a rule, it will be exempted. The host type I was saying about host, client, and server. So these are the host types. And in the inline cloud analysis column, you have that, AIML based detection for the stuff. And then in order to create exceptions for this, you can put some EDL URLs in here, and then you can put an EDL IP address list as well. That was it about the vulnerability protection. There is not much into it, but it all depends on, from what you would like to protect your infrastructure from. If you're not running Linux, you might not want to apply vulnerability protection for the Linux-based machines on a specific traffic because you do not have Linux. If you have Windows, then you would like to create the profile for the Windows-based CVEs and then protect your infrastructure from them. So that's how you can create a vulnerability protection profile and then apply it in a security policy. Now, in terms of the DoS protection profile, let's create a DoS protection profile. I'll click on add in order to add a DoS protection. I'll say DoS or I'll say ADOS. I'll let you know why I'm keeping this name. ADOS. So DoS protection profile has two types, aggregate and classified. Aggregate DoS profile means when we'll create a rule in the DoS protection policy, these settings allow to the entire traffic that matches the rule. While in the case of classified, the the thing applies to a specific source IP, destination IP, or the source and destination pair. Okay. So that's how it really works. Aggregate for entire rule, classified for a specific IP coming and hitting to that rule. Now you want to protect against SYN flood. Yes, I want to protect. And what action I want to take? I want to say a random early drop and then alarm rate. At what connection rate you want to issue an alarm? At what connection rate you want to activate your DoS protection? What is the max connection rate you're going to support? And when you're going to drop. I mean to say, what will be the duration of the block in order for not to allow them further connection. You want to protect against UDP flood? Yes, I want to protect against UDP flood, ICMP flood, V6 flood if you have V6. Other, yes, I want to protect against all the IP floods. It's not needed that your traffic is always TCP, UDP, or ICMP. It could be anything else as well. And under this resource protection tab, you limit the number of connections that can be initiated by a specific source IP address. So this is always like classified thing. So suppose whatever protection, whenever this profile is allowed applied to a rule, I'll allow 5 connections only, all the traffic hitting that specific DoS protection rule. So let's create this profile. I'll also create one more. Let's create CDOS, which is like really classified DoS protection. And I'll just say, yeah, do this. ICMP flood protection. I do not need ICMP v6, but I do need other IP flood. The source protection, again, if I say here 5, any source IP is only allowed to do 5 connections at a time. 8. Okay, so now I have 2 profiles, and let's go. Yeah, I'll show you first where we apply the vulnerability profile. So if you go into the security policies, click on internet access for LAN devices. Under the actions tab, you will see profiles, and there you select profiles, and then you can see you can apply a vulnerability protection profile. So if you have a profile, just select that profile here, and the firewall will start protecting the traffic hitting that rule with that specific security profile. If you see, you do not have an option for the DoS protection profile. So for that to be applied, you need to create a specific rule under the DoS protection policy section. So that's why I didn't talk about DoS protection policies in the past when we were talking about policies, because I was waiting for this point. This time, basically, when we have discussed the profile, I am not. Yeah, now here it is. In under DoS protection, click add. What are you gonna protect? I will say DoS. Yeah, DoS demo and source. My source zone is LAN zone. Destination zone is WAN zone. I'll say my source is my Linux machine, 10.0.0.2, going anywhere. Options, I want to protect against all the services. There are 3 actions: deny, allow, and protect. So whenever any traffic hits this rule, you just allow it, then it will allow the traffic. It will really, will not protect you from any kind of DOS attack which is happening. Deny, it will drop your even the legitimate request. So 99% of the time you're just going to do protect this stuff. And the what protect does, it applies the actions which you have selected in the DOS protection profile. So you can apply the aggregate DOS protection profile here, which we created, and the classified one after checking this box here. And I want to keep the decisions based on the source IP only or destination IP or source. I want to keep only source IP only. Hit OK and just commit our changes. While the changes are committed, I'll pause the video, then I'll show you how do we see, our rule is getting triggered, for the traffic and it's working. My commit is now complete. Let's go to the Linux machine, log into it. And as per my DoS protection profile, no more than 5 connections should be permitted from this IP address at once. So if you have a 6 connection, that means my DoS protection is not working. I'll go open the Mozilla Firefox. And in order to see the live connections which are currently on the firewall, you go onto the monitor tab and then the session browser. If you see, I do have many connections, but my DOS rule says source IP should be this, source zone, LAN zone, destination zone should be WAN zone. I would say from LAN zone. And then I'll say to WAN zone. Yep, that's how my traffic should look like. Or I'll just do this. Yep, you see, now I'll say and from LAN zone and to WAN zone. So right now it has only one connection, and that just is the drop all rule. This is nothing. So I would really go there. I'll open this in order to initiate more connections. Come on. Okay. Let's go to Wireshark. Wireshark opened. Let's go to Azure Speed and let's see if the number of connections grew up. You see, they are 5 at a time. They will not go more than 5. And if you will try, see, AzureSpeed.com is already not working. And if I try YouTube, YouTube will also not work because the connections cannot grow their number more than 5 as per our DOS. But my machine is trying to create more connections and they will be getting dropped by my DOS protection rule. So in order to see if they were dropped, we need to check under the monitor, logs, and then threat. You will be seeing the logs. Yeah, see, I'm already getting session limit event. So sessions are limited, but still few more sessions. So let's see what rule is dropping them. Click on log. You can see the rule name is DOS demo, and it's applying a session limit because as per our DOS protection profile, the session numbers are limited to 5. Let me just show you guys. Yes, I cannot have more than 5 sessions on a time on the firewall from a specific source IP. So that was it about vulnerability protection in DOS protection. I didn't have license, so I couldn't show you how vulnerability protection really works. And I showed you a quick demo of DOS protection. In next videos, we'll talk about remaining profiles. And thank you. Have a good day till then.